about Trump. I was just gonna point out a couple things, and y'all can do what you want with it. But 30 to 40% of food, in this country goes to waste. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I've seen it myself. Like, companies will lock up their dumpsters and try to stop people from getting the food, and sometimes like the food that they throw away is, just expired, but it's not like spoiled food, and they'll prevent people from getting it. And, they'll do that rather than donate the food, and
Negligence and
also,
liability.
for also 47 million people live in food insecure households, and this was in 2023. So, the numbers, aren't getting better, especially when we're like making it harder for people to who are already food insecure and on these
It's crazy to
programs,
be back on food
whatever
though.
their situations are, we're putting our personal judgment on it rather than trying to understand that whether we like it or not, we live in a society where there is food insecurity. And also from these numbers, 13.8 million of the people who are in food insecure households are children.
Damn.
So if we are going to say that we care about the children, definitely the number one thing that shouldn't be like something that we make a priority. Doesn't help anything. And it doesn't make us look good in the world, especially when a lot of other countries
Well,
that we consider our ops are, providing more for their people than we are. And also we're bailing
like
out
what
these
country?
companies, we subsidize these companies with our tax dollars. And when these farms, have issues, we bail them out. That's our freaking money. So not only that, we should definitely be taking care of people. And that's all I had to say.
Thank you, Plant. Which kind of goes back to what I brought up in the first place, the working poor, and this 20 hours a week may not work for everybody. There's too many factors involved, and we need to take account for that. And I'm not opposed to people having to do something, be it work, go to school, or
What
do
up, bro?
community service. But I feel like we need to
You want a
recognize
Bakersfield?
that. Uh,
Uh,
can you mute, please?
yup.
I think we need I think we need to recognize that there are legitimate circumstances in which that will not work, and we need to have some type of flexibility in that. That's all I was trying to say. That's all I was trying to say. Okay.
I don't. Yeah, it's open, right?
I mean, if you have something to say, you can say it, and then I'm going to move on to the next
Or do
topic.
you have a topic? Go ahead. No, no, I don't really have anything.
Okay, thank you.
I was
So,
actually going to say something on the food, and I want to thank Plant Style for really bringing up the actual statistics because there are hungry children here in America, and I don't understand how cutting subsidy to feed those children is going to make their bellies any fuller. And I understand that probably many of us on this panel are not facing, that circumstance, but it does exist. Like, you know what I mean? And we also have to look at how our government regulates our food and how we're allowed to receive our food because I mean, no female trees. There, I mean, it's crazy to the point that you can't even collect rainwater in certain places, in certain states, and like to even grow your own food or be more self-sustained. Like, you know what I mean? So it depends on your demographics because what sounds
It
like is
looks
going on in
usually.
LA sounds great, but that's not going on in Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? So,
I was talking
you
about
know,
federal. It's a federal. It came from the president.
I,
If y'all
I
would have let me
understand that
talk, then you would have learned more about it. But I
well,
don't do
I'm being
echo chambers,
honest
so
with
I'm
you.
out of
If
here.
if
But
you
I'm
would have
telling
let
you,
me
check
talk
out the
right now,
executive
because
order.
I didn't cut you off.
Yeah,
Better hurry up.
I heard you say that. I heard you say the executive order. I usually keep up with executive orders, but I missed that one.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
Yeah.
because
I
everything
was
that
going
Trump
to,
does that's positive, Democrats are going to miss. I mean, they
They
just
miss
yeah.
all
That's
of it.
turn
not,
their.
you know,
She
I'm
was
gonna be honest.
already
Uh,
losing.
I struggle to see the
oh
positive.
darn!
I struggle to
You
see the
do?
positive. I
Yeah.
struggle.
Struggle to
I
see a
struggle to
That's
see the
People
because
are
you're
No,
positive.
not.
ignoring it.
Look, I'm
And
gonna explain.
that's
Let me
the
explain
honest to
something real
God
quick.
truth.
If your algorithm, if
Yeah.
your algorithm is hate Trump, that's what you're going to get. I don't know how we are all adults and we don't understand that. You know, like
It's
if
not
Craig
about that.
algorithm is
It's
MAGA,
not
okay,
about
man, I'm
it's
not.
not
okay,
about my
Yo,
algorithm. It's
can I
about
finish the
okay.
sentence? Can
no,
I finish the
honestly,
sentence?
troller, you
If your
can't. The reason why
algorithm
you
is
can't,
literally
troller, is
against
because
it,
you cut me
then
off.
that's what it is.
Like, what the fuck
So
is
here's
going
the
on?
thing. Here's the thing.
Take
Let
it
me say
easy.
something. Here's the thing. Here's the
Throw a
thing
fit then, boy.
about a box five. This ain't that. And Craig, you're
Oh, you're
foul
not
for
a boy.
that.
My bad.
You're
I'm
foul for
down for
that.
what?
Craig hasn't
For
said
saying the
anything.
Democrats turn a
Excuse
blind
Bro,
me.
eye
this is
to
an
every
echo
good thing that
chamber.
he
Excuse
Anybody
does.
me.
that
Let me
say anything
finish.
against what
Let
they're
me
saying,
finish.
then they gonna cut
Let
them
me
off and
let,
say
let me
it's not
finish,
real and
please.
you're wrong.
But
Let me
y'all don't realize
Yeah.
that I didn't
let
cut
me
neither
finish.
one of y'all
Bro,
Let
if
niggas
I
me
off, and
finish.
if
y'all are set. Y'all
you
cutting me
literally
the fuck
did
off.
though.
I did not cut
Yeah.
you
Oh
off. It
my
was my turn. I
God!
Hey, can
started
you hold
talking, and then you
on,
started talking on top
everyone?
of me.
It
All right,
Yeah.
actually
settle
it
down.
ain't even your turn. She just asked people if they had
It
something to say.
was my turn.
Yeah.
Nobody was talking, and then I started speaking, and
Yeah,
then you.
No, I'm talking. I'm talking. What you guys aren't going to do is keep talking over me, and I'm the host. So I'm going to respond the way I want to respond. First of all, it has nothing to do with my algorithm. Craig, it has nothing to do with me missing something good. I have read literally every executive order except for the last half of June, anything that came out in the last half of June, and anything that's come out in July, because I've been too busy. Now, he told me the executive order. I accepted it. I will go look at it myself. I don't have any reason to disbelieve him. It's an executive order. I'll see it for myself. He read the title. I don't, why would I disbelieve him? But you seem to think that you're on a panel with a bunch of idiots. You seem to think that I just listen to sound bites here and there, knowing damn well I've told you more than once, I keep C-SPAN on it for background noise. So don't do that. Don't insult my intelligence like that. And don't make it seem like it's something it's not.
Yo,
Go
can
ahead.
you
can
do
I say
me? Can you
something
do
real
me
quick though,
one?
Jiva? Can I say something
Box
real quick?
five.
So
Yes, you
let me
can. Yes.
let me say something. When I came to this panel, you guys muted me in the comments so I couldn't raise my hand and join. That's what you did from the gate. Not you personally,
Oh,
but your admins. I'm telling you what's going
I didn't
on.
see it. I
So
didn't see it.
look now. So since I'm muted in the comments, I wasn't even able to raise my hand, so I had to speak out to try to get the talk. This dude box four keep talking over me every time I talk. Then you were supposed to give me 4 minutes to talk, just like everybody else. You didn't want to do it. So what I'm surmising from this panel right now, because I was invited over here, I got the flyer. I said I'm gonna come support. Came in here, gifted everybody on the panel, got on the panel, and you guys are now doing this echo chamber shit that y'all always do. Like when somebody disagrees with y'all points, it's not okay for y'all to talk over these people. You calling out Craig for his shit, why don't you call yourself out for your shit? I didn't even get 1 minute undisturbed. You disturbed me, about four disturbed me, a couple of other people jumped in and said what they had to say. So I just gave up my 4 minutes to Plant Style with less than 60 seconds of talk time. Then when I tried to
Well,
show y'all the executive order, you got, because you muted me in the comments, I can't put the picture down there. So I had to screen share on my other phone to do so. You see what I'm saying? Y'all got to stop this echo chamber shit. If y'all want to have a decent conversation where both sides get to speak how they feel or what they know about the situation, then we can get to a good understanding. But if y'all just want to hear people agree with y'all all day and have a pity party, I'm not here for that. I'm not going to ever come back for that. So get your
okay, so
So,
oh
oop,
oh he's gone. Did he get kicked out?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think he at work or some shit, right? Who was that?
No,
Trolla?
I
that
mean,
was
I
Troller.
don't know. I don't know. Oh, that was Trolla?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
you can't
So
tell
here's
by
the
the voice.
no, I don't know his voice. I don't know
Uh,
his voice. That's
Uh,
God
why I
bless you,
didn't.
then.
That's why I didn't know that he was the one calling me a dumb fucking bitch when
oh
I was
shit.
on a panel and I didn't want to talk. I was talking to OG.
Yeah, he not in here anymore. So
I
Look,
was
I
Well,
talking
I
to
mean,
muted
Moses,
him.
and so I went.
can I?
And so
I muted him because he was rude. He told the girls about he accused somebody about eggs, and I was like, "What?" She did not
yeah.
say eggs.
So
He
I
accused
didn't.
number 11. And
I
so
couldn't see, the names are too small. I have a problem with my eye right now, and the names are too small, and I didn't know that was Trolla. And Craig, you can repeat this to him, or if he's in the thing. I didn't want to engage with him at all because OG Moses had asked me a question, and before I could answer it, Trolla, it was in a PK. I don't know his voice. He called me a dumb fucking bitch. So I decided that I wasn't going to engage with him, and I got quiet. And then he was like, "We're waiting on you to speak." And I said, "I'm sorry, sir, I'm not going to engage with you." And that's when he again called me a dumb fucking bitch, called me old, called me fat, called me ugly. That was our
well,
discourse. That is the only
today?
conversation I've ever had with that man. Now, I
Okay.
will say this. While he was on here, I didn't know it was him. I couldn't see his name. He was largely respectful, and I'm grateful for that. But I'm not going to miss him that he got off the panel now that I know who he is. Go ahead, Craig. You wanted to say
I'm
something.
not gonna miss
Yeah.
him.
So I don't know. He wasn't wrong with what he was saying though, because even whenever I started speaking, people started talking back and forth over me. It is what it is. I figured that it's common discourse, and I know that if I say something that you don't agree with, you're gonna try to speak up. Some of this shit is definitely triggering to some people. My question for you though, however, would be if you don't have hate and disdain for Trump for no reason, can you name one thing in this bill that was just passed that's a good thing?
So a couple things. I will answer your question, but I want to address something. Issa did attempt to give him his time, and I had a question that I wanted him to answer during his time. That said, one, I don't have I don't just hate Trump for no reason. I haven't liked that man since the '80s. My hatred goes real deep.
Yep. He dropping
Um,
food on Gaza.
um,
That's
but
good.
that's not in the bill though.
I
Um,
know, but he's doing it. He don't have to.
yeah. We talked about it. He said $60 million for the food. Two things in the bill that I do like.
That's a lot.
I do like overtime and
Gratuity.
tips
Yep.
not being taxed. I wish it wasn't sunsetting after 2 years, especially because a lot of waitresses and servers, at the end of the day, they make about $2.75 an hour. I even
Mhm.
saw
And
a
for that,
job
you
note.
need to make over 60 grand.
I I saw a job notification to work at the stadium here as a server, and the base salary was $2.75, and I had to look at it 3 times. I was like,
Yeah.
that's
Right.
ridiculous. That's
Right.
absolutely
It is
ridiculous.
unless those people are making, $100, hundred and fifty
They're not.
dollars in a day for, 5 hour shift for
Oh, they
I don't
might
know,
be
but
service.
actually.
And
I think
there
that's
are
a
a
good
lot of people
thing.
that do, but so I do understand why companies don't pay the state minimum and then allow their people to have tips. That's kind of what the job is. You're doing a service
That's
job,
why they have
and
that. Yeah.
I like that he's done that. And
Hmm.
it's kind of a social experiment, just like every other social experiment the government's ever done that was temporary. You put it out there, you try it temporarily, give it a couple years, see if the people like it, see if the government can actually handle that, and then if you like it, then you make it permanent.
Make adjustments.
Like
Yeah, and
But
if
that's
you
that's
how
not.
that
don't,
happened.
and if you don't,
But that's
you
not what
make
he campaigned
adjustments.
on. That's not what he campaigned on. He didn't say he was going
I
to do
get
this for
that.
2 years. He didn't say
I get
that.
that.
Now I see it.
Concessions
So
get
now
made though.
and the flip is
Yeah.
for you. What in this bill don't you like?
So
Okay.
I don't like the same thing. I don't like that it's not permanent. I don't. I really think that when Donald Trump said that he was going to make it
Okay, Rep.
permanent,
I'll
well,
save it.
he didn't say he was going to make it permanent, but he did say like no tax on tips, no tax
Yeah,
on
yeah.
overtime, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to be a no tax across the board, right? You said that, so that means that that whoever company I'm working for, the government shouldn't touch my tax on. They shouldn't tax me on tips or anything. It shouldn't be a
There
rebate
should
at
be
the
no
end of the
taxes.
year. It just
Yeah.
shouldn't be taxed. But I understand how the government works, and I always kind of knew that that's kind of what they would do because they want to track every dollar that's spent. So if they want to track it, that's one way to do it. We just give people tax cuts,
Mm-hmm.
and they still
See
have
what
to
they
Yeah,
do.
claim
but
it, but we'll give them a cut based on it. So I get
yeah,
that. Uh,
like tracking
do I
everything
like it
that,
though? No.
like FEMA, because didn't some expensive for the help in Texas have to go across Kristi Noem's desk? I don't know if that's true or not, but
I
that's
don't
what I
know.
heard. That's ridiculous.
I don't know if that's true either. I don't know if that's true. I
Well,
think
she did, but she sent out a press release and say it didn't sit on my desk for that long. I did push it through, so maybe it is true. I think that's pretty ridiculous, but that wasn't in the bill. Um,
What?
okay.
Explain
Um,
further.
so
but there
so apparently there is a new way that she's running the department, and that she has to sign off on. I see you. She has to sign off on all expenditures over a certain amount. And when everything happened, these Texas floods happened,
Uh,
the money wasn't distributed quickly, as quick as it could have been, to FEMA because they were waiting on her to sign it. I think it's all expenditures over 100,000. I didn't research it myself, so I took it with a grain of salt
uh,
until she said, no, it wasn't on my desk that long. I signed them and pushed them through. Go ahead,
okay.
Issa.
I didn't know that. That's good.
Okay, before you move on to another conversation, I wanted to say this about the homelessness for a while now, right? And the executive order that Chola was talking about. And see, the issue that I have with that executive order is that it's not about helping people, it's about criminalizing them. Right? You're institutionalizing people forcibly, which is illegal, like literally. And then or you're literally just putting them into jail. And then what a part in
They're doing
this,
nothing.
right, and a big part in this, and it's the biggest part of it all, inside of the executive order, it includes a no new housing funding or construction incentives. They're not going to give you no money to build anything for these people that you're forcibly institutionalizing. So after you institutionalize them, where are they supposed to go?
You talking
Did
about
we
people in
really
jail?
deal with Forrest? You're about to leave. You're aggravating me. Every time somebody's talking, you're like a chihuahua in the background. Nobody needs a hype man. Let me get my thoughts out, please. So when it comes down to like what Trump is doing with the homelessness, what he's doing is replacing them, displacing them, getting them out of sight, out of mind, with no future endeavors after that. Just the same thing that goes with this tax bill. There's no future in this. It's about to last like what, 3 more years and then it's over. He's not like the things that can literally help this country. He put a time limit on. Realize that. I'm done.
Well, I'm glad you had time to read it because I was taking it at face value until I got to it. I think he's signed like 7 or 8 executive orders in the last month that I haven't had a time to look
I
at.
thought it was back. I looked it up. I thought it was in 2020. I know he did something in 2020. Then Biden came in, tried to honor some of the policies, but it was like never passed. Half the stuff was never passed anyway. So it was just orders that was put out. States took up the slack and actually started clearing out camps. Now, as far as right now, I don't see nothing. But from 2016 all the way up to 2020, yeah, it was a lot of stuff that he was trying to do for the homeless, or do to the homeless, not for the homeless, but do to the homeless or whatever.
Yeah,
So it's
criminalizing it. And he just
yeah.
said something. He was just somebody just brought up homelessness in New York last week, and he was like, "Well, we're going to get them out of there. They got to go. We got to get them out of there." And he didn't say it in such a way that meant we're going to, build some tiny homes, and it came across more like he's going to tell the police to rouse people up and drag them off somewhere.
Now, one thing that was in the 2020 executive order, or whatever, was the fact that all the federal regulations that was slowing down construction in certain places. I think somebody said something about converting hotels over to eco homes, like economy
Yeah.
homes and stuff like that. Yeah,
Um.
like
Uh.
that's
I
something
don't.
that's been in the works. That's actually been in the works. I know it's been in the works out here. You have a lot of hotels being renovated. They turn into eco homes. You actually have shelters that are trying to invest in tiny homes. But it depends on the organization. Most of those organizations in those states that are in control of those funds, they're kind of dirty, regardless if they're right or left, you know what I'm saying? But if you are in a red state, most likely those organizations are probably going to be leaning towards the right. So it really don't even matter. It's just yeah, whatever
So
organization that's running those funds. But a lot
hold
of
on.
them
So,
are, hold on. But
So
a
so
I'm
lot of them are being dirty
go
with the money. A lot of them are being dirty
ahead.
with the money, and a lot of people don't want to fuck with them.
so
Where I work at now, they actually are invested in tiny homes for the homeless.
so
Thank you,
what
So
it
for
Kristi.
people,
so
so it's
what it ain't. So when you say that he's forcing people into this, forcing homeless into this, those people that are being forced or that might be forced, it's lifting some states' programs that would keep that from happening to people who pose a risk to themselves, the public, and are living in the street and cannot take care of themselves. Individuals, let's see, encouraging civil commitment of individuals with mental illness, people that have already been that are already considered mentally ill, and pose a risk to themselves or the public. Those people can be institutionalized. That's what it's talking about doing.
But Craig, so two things. Libra, I didn't say eco homes because I didn't know about that. I just knew that she was doing something
that's what
with
they call them. Yeah,
okay.
that's what they call them once
Craig,
they renovate.
do you know how many people are working poor and homeless? Not everybody who is on the street has a mental
No,
illness or a drug
so
addiction. There is a
I
whole
get that, but the majority of them are.
no. We cannot say the majority. We can't.
Yeah, we can.
No, we
We can
can't.
definitely
Not
say the majority of people that are
no, we
homeless
can't.
are on
No, we can't.
drugs
No,
In
we
or
places
can't
like
mentally
New
because
ill.
York and California, the cost of living is so high. You have people who are
yes,
going to work every day and they're homeless.
yes, that's what I'm saying. And we can no longer say that the majority of homeless people have mental illness or drug addiction because the
So how
cost of
many
living is so high. So
how many
let me
homeless
tell.
were in the United States in the last
Excuse
how
me.
many
I wasn't
homeless
done,
were in the
Craig.
United States in the last year?
Craig, I'm not answering that question because I wasn't done.
Okay. All right.
They have shown studies of Amazon homeless. That is when Amazon comes in and builds a warehouse or a factory, and or even a headquarters, because there's two of them, and because they've brought in this influx of business, capitalism kicks in, and people are making more money. There more people are moving into the area, and there's no rent control, and landlords,
Mhm.
capitalism, raise the rents. And
I
so
agree.
there's people who are made homeless due to capitalism. There are people who have job, like Hakeem said, that live in California, New York, are gainfully employed, living on the streets. There was just a whole expose about a woman in Atlanta, living in a U-Haul with her 2 kids. She goes to work, she takes the kids to school. She got priced out of their housing, and she's running from U-Haul because they're gonna repro the U-Haul. And there was another story about all these people that are living in storage units. They wait till it closes, and that's where they live. And these are working people. But the only rent they can afford is the cost of what a storage unit is. So you got to get out of this mindset that it's just, the dregs of society that's homeless and crazy and on drugs and they want to
I
be
didn't
homeless.
say the dredge of society is. I said the fair majority of them, and I still stand behind the statement. There were 274,224 homeless people in the United States last year. That's a lot of people, but the majority of those people were definitely on drugs or mentally ill people in a place that they shouldn't be. Um, and to help those people, to give them an opportunity, put them in an institution, feed those people, house those people, uh, try to help them reintegrate into society in some way, shape, form, or fashion, if that's at all capable. That's a good thing.
Yeah, that's not going to help. That's not going to help because if they are mentally ill, most people what they consider to be mentally ill when it comes to homelessness is people are
Alcoholism.
they don't want to be housed. A lot of people don't want to be housed. They would rather be on the streets because
There's a segment.
yeah, because they don't want to deal with those facilities and those rules. Even in those
Right.
facilities that they bring them into, if you break so many rules, you can kick right back out in the streets. It's not you're just going to come here and you're going to do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can't just be sitting out here cussing out somebody because they're white or they're black. You know what I'm saying? You just can't be just blurting out with Tourette's and thinking I'm supposed to. After so long, I'm finna put you back on the streets. Like I'm not finna deal with it. You know what I'm saying? For the protection of other residents, I'm not finna have them deal with you. I'm going to remove you. You're going to get removed. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting you back on the streets. Like you're not going to sit here and do that. And you got certain state facilities, they're the same way. If those people could come in and follow those rules, I mean, it's kind of hard. They just don't want to. They just don't want to. A lot of those people do not want to. They don't want to follow the rules. You know, they want to come in. They want to get high. It's just the
Oh, so
reality.
they are drug addicts.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
not all of
that's
them.
just not
I
all of
didn't
them.
I
Not
didn't
all of them.
say I
Some of
didn't
them
say
are
none of them were. I
schizophrenic.
didn't say
Not
none of
all
them
of them.
were.
Yeah,
I
not all
never
of them.
No,
said that
But see,
all
this
of
is the
them were.
thing.
There's
But
nothing
see,
that's
the
100. We can be
filter.
honest.
But this is the
Come on
thing.
now.
You have to filter it out. You got to filter it out. You got to filter it out because there are people who come in who do thrive to be self sufficient. Wherever it is holding them back to be self sufficient, those people still grind. Every time you turn around, they are working. They are busting their ass. If they can't afford a car, they're getting up and walking 50 miles to work. You know what I'm saying? They have to deal with their work. They have to deal with a workload. They have to deal with trying to find sufficient water. They have to deal with trying to wash their ass and all this type of stuff. And sometimes facilities really are on some bullshit. You know, I look at it like the sit back and wait for the government to do it. You can actually get with your community, your people, and you can actually just do it yourself. You know, you can start going to your Salvation Army or your NGOs that are here that do house homeless people and see what the fuck is going on and see where you can help it. Because we're sitting back talking about it, and a
I
lot of
see you,
people are just
11.
standing on. Yeah, they just standing on the sidelines. They
Stop.
really are not
So
involved.
in this executive order, it speaks to what the attorney general needs to do, right? And it says the attorney general shall assess federal resources to determine whether they may be directed towards ensuring, to the extent permitted by law, that
Yeah,
So
detainees
that
with
goes through
serious mental,
so many
hold
hands,
on,
Craig.
hold on, hold on,
Sister,
that
Sister had
detainees
her
with,
sister had her hand up a while ago, Craig.
okay.
She
All right. I'm
did.
sorry. I didn't see it. My
That's
bad.
okay. Let sister go, and then we'll circle back to you, and you can finish reading what you needed to read. Okay.
I'd like to add that addiction is treated highly different amongst our people, literally by race, is treated very different. You know, the opium epidemic was seen as a mental illness. It was a problem, and we needed to fund this situation. But when it comes to homeless and non-whites, the addiction issue now is demonized. It's really maniacal. I land my
Yeah,
plane.
because I mean, no, no, for real, because ag, they actually have places where your Medicaid can actually pay for you, and you can go to this rehab for so many months. And they're
Hey,
not
hey,
in
hey,
urban
hey,
areas;
Libra. Hey,
they're in
hey,
mostly
Libra.
rural areas. My bad.
I promised Craig he could go after Sis Star.
So this is what I'm reading. I mean, the Attorney General shall assess federal resources to determine whether they may be directed towards ensuring, to the extent permitted by law, that detainees with serious mental illnesses are not released into the public because of a lack of forensic bed capacity, to appropriate local, state, and federal jails or hospitals. So, I mean, there, I don't see a problem with what he's saying that they want to do. Not at all. I see where it could turn into a problem if it's mistreated and misused, and they force people who are just trying to get by into institutions. It's not saying they're going to institutionalize anybody who is not already a threat to themselves or an addict or has been a threat. They're going to take all of the precautions they can to make sure that they're not sexual predators. They're going to do all their it's all listed in this executive order. It's not like they're just going to go, "Oh, well, this person's homeless, so let's just round them up and take them to the jailhouse. We're going to lock
Are
them
you t-
up too." But
are
then
you
people get them
talking?
off the street.
Are you talking about
Yeah,
the
that's
same? Are you talking about the same government that has been just rounding up randomly people off the street and putting them
I
into?
don't think they've been random though. They
Oh
haven't been
yeah,
random.
oh
You
yeah,
talk
they
about
have been.
undocumented people?
They have been. They have been and documented people.
Undocumented.
There is very it is evident, indisputable
Yeah.
that
So,
some citizens, some actual factual citizens, have been rounded up and been detained until they sort it out, and that might
well,
be
and
3 or 4 days
that's going to
or
happen.
a week.
That's
So
going to happen. Well, it's not a couple weeks though.
but
It's
it shouldn't. But
3 days.
I
You can be held three
no
days
no
without
no no no
charge.
no 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 no
Yeah.
no on no because they're not following due process. You're forgetting that.
Yeah, they
So
are.
is it? No, they're not. Is it every person that's a
You make an
citizen in
assertion
there?
without evidence.
No,
No.
that is the truth. These people are
And
not
whenever,
getting these people are not getting their due process. Due
yeah,
process
they
means
are.
they get to go. No, they aren't. This means they get to go stand in front of a judge and make their case
Not
for
always.
asylum.
Not
No, that is
always.
no. No,
No,
that is the due.
that's not
No,
what that
that is
is.
the due. No, that is their due process. Their due
So
process is no, Craig. No,
if you tell an
Craig. I
officer
know the
that you're
fifth.
here to work, all I
Craig.
want
I
to
know
do is work, but I'm here to seek asylum and all I want to do is work, then
Craig. We're
that's
not
not
doing that
saying that they're not. I
because
mean,
I know the
you
Fifth
pretty
Amendment.
much make the case for yourself.
I
So
know the
what do you
Fifth
mean?
Amendment.
That person.
You your due
So the
process. Your
Fifth
due
Amendment
process.
is to citizens. It's not to undocumented people.
It's due
They're granted a
process.
certain amount of due process,
It's
but it's not the
due
same as every
process.
citizen. It's
It's
not.
due process. It is. If Nazis were
And that's
afforded
for
the
every citizen,
opportunity, if
It's
Nazis
everybody,
were
granted
afforded
to
the opportunity,
citizens, not non-citizens.
if
everybody.
Nazis were
No, it's
afforded
not.
the opportunity to stand in front of a judge and make the case as to why they could stay in the United States when they were undocumented. I see it's a due process is due process. That is how it works. When you
Due
come into
process
this
for
country,
citizens.
no, when you
Yes.
come into when you come into this country, when you cross
I
the border,
understand how you feel, but that's not the way it
no,
works.
There's another.
that's why they need to flood the zone with judges. That's why these people end up in the shadows, because it takes too long for them to get in front of a judge to make their case. You know that they said it's been taking anywhere from 5 to 10 years for somebody to get their case in front of a judge. And that part of the process, getting their case in front of the judge to ask for asylum, to make the case for asylum, that is due process. Period. When these people are rounded up, they still get their due process to make the case. One, if they're seeking asylum, why they should get it. Or two, if they've been accidentally rounded up and they're a citizen, to prove it. And there is case after case after case where this is not happening. On average, the citizens, 3 or 4 days. But some have been in there for 3 or 4 weeks. There's a whole thing of the ACLU is suing because people aren't even able to meet with immigration lawyers. Also part of their due process. So it just had her hand up and then it was Plant Style.
So first, I want to say that due process under the 5th and 14th Amendments is for all persons. It doesn't just say citizens. It says to all persons. So that if you're a person, and I'm pretty sure immigrants are people, you are supposed to get due process. That's on period, right? And then on top of that, when it comes to how American citizens being detained, it absolutely has happened. Is it rare? Yes. But does it happen? Absolutely. Are their rights being violated in the process? Absolutely. Because unfortunately, no one is getting due process. No one. And that's the
He's in the
problem
blinds.
on with this whole ICE situation, right? And a lot of these ICE situations are coming from regular ass citizens. All you have to do is call a number and make a report on anybody. It's a witch hunt. Salem all over again. And I wanted to say something else. I'm going through these topics so fast. I'll raise my hand again for later.
Okay, go. Thank you. Craig, were you able to hear that
No,
what Issa said?
I heard what she said, and she's not wrong. Due process is for all persons, right? But to the extent of how it's applied is different. It's always been different. Undocumented
Due
people
process
aren't
is due.
afforded the same exact rights as every other citizen in this country. They're not. Even their due process is different. They are entitled due
No, due
process,
process is,
but their due
yeah, but
process is different.
that's
The
not what you
scope of
said
rights,
until
the scope of rights is different.
that's
It's
not what you said until she read that it was out of the 5th and the 14th. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Plant. Can I let Issa
so
go ahead and
the
counter
scope of
that, and then
rights
you
is
go ahead.
different. Expedited removal is within that, falls within that due process. Uh, Access to
No, it
legal
doesn't.
representation is within that process as well. I mean, there are things that they have that do equate to the due process, but it's not the same as citizens.
And
It's
they're
The
not,
not
part that
getting it.
is
Go
but
ahead,
that
they
Issa.
are,
none of it is happening. That's the point. The
but
point
they are
is
getting that.
that is happening. And your first
Not what's
argument was,
happening.
well, it's not supposed to happen. They're immigrants. It's not supposed to happen. And then when I read to you, yes, it is supposed to happen. Whether it looks different,
Um,
whether it looks the same, it's supposed to be a process, and the
if you
process isn't happening. So we got to
if
keep on going back to the part that it's not happening. So you
But it
can say,
is.
oh, stop. You can say all you want, but it
Oh
can
my
be
God.
different
All right.
than it is for a citizen. You can say that. I don't care if you leave because you can't cut me off. Like, that makes no sense. Anyway, so
And you know what? It wasn't even about you cutting him off. It was about the fact that you were right and he was wrong, and you had our Constitution to back you up, and he couldn't handle that. That's what
right,
that
and
was about.
oh no, well, immigrants get a different form of due process than citizens. Okay, that's a great assessment. But my
You could
argument
argue
is
that
that
the Constitution is for citizens.
argument. Nobody is getting process. So it isn't it's all the same for everybody at this point if you're in ICE.
No, clearly not.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. They're not citizens.
They're not
So
citizens.
since they're not
Does
citizens, are they entitled to the same rights that we are entitled to?
No, but that's not
says
what the
all
Constitution says.
I think
The
we're all
Constitution
saying the
says
same thing.
person. The Constitution.
hold on,
Exactly.
that Black people were able to go and stand in front of a judge before they became citizens because it was for all persons. It will look different, yes, but the argument isn't if it looks different. The argument is if they're receiving a due process, and the answer to that is no.
But
That
Issa,
is a
can I rebuttal with this? Unless they keep
yes.
voting for this particular amendment, we're 3/5 of a person. And if they stop voting for this, we're an immigrant. You do realize this.
That's kind of her point, though.
Her point is, since we are not immigrants and they are, we have a voice and they don't. I don't want to be on
No,
this
I mean,
side,
but she
Issa,
was.
and I do
I mean,
Saying
apologize, but
she.
I'm going to stay on the side.
what I'm
I mean, but
saying
she
is
was agreeing with you, and to an extent, to the point where the fact that we are not considered or weren't considered to be a part of what you're talking about, unless that word persons included everybody. She's saying that the fact that the word persons included us, which benefited us, which is the only reason why us can even
It
have
did not
this.
benefit. No, brother, it didn't benefit us until they made 3/5 a whole person. So when you hear the word persons, and I'm playing devil's advocate just because Craig left. Listen, I'm playing devil's advocate.
but that's when we became a country. Before that, we were colonized under Britain. When they put Black people were 3/5 of the person, that happened in the Constitution in 1777. All of that
So
happened
these,
at the same time. So
yeah,
before that, there was no judges, there was no all of this stuff because we were a colony under Britain.
but these immigrants are not 3/5 of a person. We are, and since we're written
Doesn't
into this
matter.
Constitution, since we
Putting
are written in this Constitution, they aren't written. I'm playing
when
devil's
they put it
advocate.
in the 14th Amendment, they put all persons deserve due process. It doesn't matter if you were 3/5 of a person. It doesn't matter if you wasn't even considered a person. But at the end of the day, you were a person, a people, right? So you're able to at least see the judge. It doesn't mean that the laws is going to work for you, but you get to at least stand in front of the judge. That's the bare minimum.
Speedy process.
So
I get that. 14th Amendment applied to us Americans. It does not apply to people that's outside of being American.
Can I
it does.
jump in
Due
here, y'all? Because
process
I
is
had my hand raised.
due process is due process. Go ahead, Mr. Couche.
Okay, because I heard when I left, y'all was talking about this, and I don't understand what's so hard to understand. It's called the law of the land, not the law of the person, individual. So if I go to, if somebody comes here from the United States, and even if they're a legal immigrant or whatever the situation is, if I kill that person, I am violating the law of the land.
No, you're
I
not.
am still stop. I am. Because murder is illegal in United States of America. It's the land, the law of the land.
It's
So
also illegal to be here undocumented.
even when people stop, it doesn't matter. when you
But
cross
that
this
does.
line,
So
no,
murder
it
doesn't
doesn't.
murder
No, Craig,
matters, but
first of all, shut the fuck up
undocumented
because it's my
doesn't
time to
matter.
talk. See, this is what I'm talking about. You motherfuckers, swear to God, everybody cut your motherfucking asses off.
Murder
So why the fuck are
matters,
you cutting me
but
off? Because I never cut you the fuck off.
undocumented doesn't. I
Craig,
mean,
I
you're
only
just
came up
making
here because you
you're
left.
just straw
I'm,
manning.
But you see how
That's
he's
all you're
Craig,
doing.
talking?
Craig, let him
No,
talk. I only came up
no,
here
he won't. He won't because
I
he
because
just
got you,
can't control his
Jabril. I
fucking
got
fat
you,
ass.
Jabril. I got you, Brody.
He gets on my
Plan is
fucking
next.
nerves because I
Plan
know you fucking
had
heard
her
me
hand up,
talking.
so she's next.
It's the law of the land, okay? When people commit crimes, even if they're illegal aliens or whatever happens, they are still afforded due process. Even internationally, when we bring these people back to our country, they still are offered due process because it's a law of the land. If you can show me where we have brought other people from other countries and put them on trial here in the United States and didn't give them due process, I'll shut the fuck up because it's the law of the land. It's not applicable to any individual person. The reason why it applies to you is because you're on the fucking land. That's it. If you leave United States, none of that shit applies to you. Only reason it applies is because of where you are, your location. Like, I don't understand why that's so hard to understand.
Yeah, even terrorists have gotten due process. Go ahead, Plant
Correct.
Style.
I thought Craig was next. Sorry,
Plant
but
raised
No,
her
okay.
hand. Plant raised her hand a while ago, and I skipped her. So I said that she was
that nigga just
next,
cut everybody off.
and then it's Craig.
Yeah, I just been hearing what everybody's been saying. Like what Issa pointed out earlier was actually what I was gonna bring up. Cause like, I mean, when I'm listening to everybody talk, a lot of times when I'm just sitting here, I'm just looking stuff up, on both sides, just checking out what everybody's saying. And I feel like, especially when it comes to the Constitution and amendments, like it's just point blank, period. That's what it is. It's like right there, you know. And I don't know how we can stray so far from what the fundamentals are. And fundamentally, like everybody's supposed to get due process, just like Purple was saying, like think of all the serial killers like Jeffrey Dahmer, like people. You can have video footage of somebody committing the crime. You can see it with your own motherfucking two eyes. They still gonna get due process. That's what everybody is supposed to be afforded. And it doesn't say citizens. It doesn't talk about non-citizens. It just talks about people and the laws that they're under within the state that they're in, and also what they're under federally. It's supposed to be wherever you at, you commit a crime, you're supposed to go through that jurisdiction, that due process. You have to stay there. You go to that judge, they put like a warrant out for your arrest. Those officers, that jurisdiction has the duty and the obligation to detain you and bring you in. It's not anybody else's jurisdiction. That's what that stuff stipulates. If you actually like look into it, we don't even need to argue because it's just right there. And that's it.
Your turn, Craig.
Okay, so what I was saying before I was interrupted, um, due process definitely is extended to undocumented people as citizens. I mean, we all have due process, right? But the due process that they get is a bit different. There's a different scope of rights for them. Um, the Constitution guarantees due process to all citizens to all persons, regardless of citizenship status. That means undocumented immigrants are entitled to fair treatment under the law. That's what that means. But they are also, there are other cases where they circumvent even taking them to court. Expedited removal. For some undocumented immigrant apprehended near the border, expedited removal processes may be used, potentially leading to deportation without a full court hearing. That's just a normal thing. It's something that happens. It's part of due process, but it's being fair. Um, access to legal representation in criminal cases. Anyone facing even 1 day in jail is entitled to a lawyer if they cannot afford one. However, in immigration proceedings, particularly those involving deportation, the government is not required to provide free legal counsel. They're not. And also, evidentiary standards. Immigration court proceedings may have less strict rules of evidence than traditional court, potentially allowing for hearsay and other forms of evidence that would not be admissible anywhere else. The burden of proof. In deportation proceedings, the government generally has the burden of proving by clear and convincing evidence that an individual is deportable. However, specific rules to procedures can vary depending on the circumstances and the type of proceeding. These are all things that change, that have changed, that mean that they don't get the same due process as every other citizen. They just don't. But for some reason, that's hard for people to understand. People are
None
saying
of
they
what
don't
you're
get due
saying is
process
happening
because they're not
anyway, is the
seeing
point, though.
people,
Chuck,
but
let
it
him finish.
does. It is. People are saying right now that, and have said it on this panel, that these people aren't getting due process, the same due process as every other citizen. They're not, but they're not supposed to be. A large number of these people are being stopped at the border or right around the border and have been found that they've only been here for 3 months, 4 months. It's time for them to go. And they're removing those people.
It said then plant, but what you missed was I specifically talked about people who are being detained, not just sitting at the border, who are being dragged off to these detainment camps. And while they may not be eligible for a court appointed attorney, there are plenty of immigration attorneys that are working pro bono and not allowed to see these people. And at the very least, they still have the right to appear before a judge. Period.
Oh, Craig, you by yourself with that question. I ain't get no answer for that. I was with you
Yeah,
at the
so
border, but
Go
what
ahead,
Purple
it's
just
and
said,
I
then
mean,
plant.
yeah, you by yourself with that
Okay.
one. I ain't got no answer for
no,
that
I
one.
got it. I mean that's fine. I already answered it. Just people are, I don't know whether they
But
just
you didn't
they
know.
they don't
I
want
mean,
to
where are
they
you
don't
getting
want to.
your information from, though? I mean, how are you not seeing that
I
what
mean, I
she's
put it
saying
down
and
in the
what
comment.
everybody's saying is facts, though? I mean, like, where are you getting your information at to the point where you're
I put
not
it down in the
seeing
comment.
the fact that there are
No.
literally
What fact?
citizens,
Hey,
military,
Chop.
people who've served in our military for years who are being
So
detained?
you're going to be detained. Some people are going to be detained. That's part of the
No,
Even
due
if
well,
you serve in
process.
our military,
It
seriously.
doesn't make a fuck.
Even if you
If
are
you're around,
active
so
military
if you're
service,
around,
it don't make
so
it.
this is the problem that I have with it. There are
Detainment
some
and
people
jail
that
is
push
different.
back against exactly what is going on, and the way they push back against it, even though they know they're a citizen, they refuse to show any ID, anything showing that they are who they
No,
are,
that's not
and
what's
they
no,
become
happening. The
detained.
let me,
IDs are
And
being
no.
when they
faked,
become
man.
detained,
You're not
when they
you're
become
not doing any
detained, they're
research on your
trying.
own, bro. I
When
don't
they
get it.
when they
I
become
don't.
detained, they're trying to. When they become detained, they're absolutely trying to push back on the system and say, "Fuck you, I'm a citizen. Fuck you, I'm a citizen."
But
And they get detained for 2 or 3 days. Then, when the government figures out they are who they are supposed to be here, who they eventually say that they are, then they get released.
yeah, but Craig, you forget the Fifth Amendment.
That's not
I have a
true.
right to my property, and my there's no
Hmm.
right of seizure, and I don't have
Right.
to
That's the
prove
fourth.
that I'm American. So, Craig, you're forgetting about the Fifth Amendment.
And,
Fourth.
So
as far as the
but
cop,
immigration has the right to force you to prove that you are who you are. They
but
have
Don't
that
forget
It's
right.
it's
not,
that
also,
That's a
don't
Craig.
right
wait, Mr.
granted to
Craig,
them
Couche.
as
It
well.
said
not to
no,
and plant
that's
Americans, to
incorrect.
illegal immigrants. So, if I'm an
it
American,
said and
Craig,
plant
They're
had their
going to
hand
they don't
up
detain
and
have
then
you.
Mr. Couche.
they don't have a right. So detainment is detainment, but detainment and incarcerating me in a facility is different. So if you want to
They're
stop me in
not
the street,
incarcerating the people in these
no,
facilities until they're noticed,
well,
until
hear
they
me out. Hear
are
me out.
put on notice that they are undocumented.
What
Craig,
are you
if I'm in the
watching?
street right now, I'm walking down the street. I can be detained and you can run your investigation. But as soon
For
as
up
you
to
put me in those
72 hours
handcuffs,
without charge, for sure.
yeah, well, you're extending that, Craig. Come on, you know the Fifth Amendment.
It
You can
says
be
in
Can I?
you
plant,
can be
Mr.
detained
Again
Couche.
on
for up to
topic, go ahead.
72 hours without charge. You
You're
can
extending
be.
that, Craig.
Guys, guys,
No,
guys.
No,
in
Mr.
At
Couche,
every
the end,
state in this country.
it
He
said
gotta
then
be
plant,
trolling.
didn't you, Mr. Couche?
No, he's
He gotta
speaking
be
law,
trolling.
but the law it works against us sometimes. So if you're walking down the street, and I'm an American citizen, I will agree with Craig with this. The authority has a right to detain you to conduct the investigation. You have a right to not self-incriminate yourself. The thing I think we're having the biggest trouble with is when they take you off the street and they put you in a facility. That's where we're having the trouble with because you don't have to show the government any ID at all. That's your Fifth
no, you
Amendment.
don't,
Right.
However, the government can
because they have
still
to prove that you
and
committed a crime.
yeah, but what he's utilizing right now, he's utilizing the right of detention. That's what he's utilizing, and it's actually
That's
technically not
exact.
against the law. Technically, it's not against the law.
Not
It's
at
technically.
all.
Okay, so it's a then plant, and people have been held for more than 3 days, more than 72 hours. Go ahead, it's a then plant.
Okay,
I'm after plant.
Yes.
so first I would like to say everything that Craig just said was some bullshit. He be making up stories
Thank
to
you.
try to
Thank you.
that's what's happening out there because I know
Thank you.
that I forget the boy's name. I'm sorry. I hate when I forget his name. But give me a second, I can find it for you. He was literally detained. The ICE officers knew he had the wrong person. It's on camera. He said that's not him. And they detained his ass anyway. And his parents, because he was only 17 years old, was looking for him for 4 days. They had to make a missing persons report just to find out where their child was, who was a fucking citizen. Birth certificate, social security
Well,
card,
here
and
you go.
fucking thing. So that is a lot. Right? This stuff is happening. There's ICE officers hopping out in plain clothes, no badge seen, and detaining people.
And
That's
fine.
No, that's
officers.
not fine.
It's not
Yes, it
fine.
is.
It's not
That's
fine.
absolutely
No, it's
In
okay.
not
whose
fine.
world?
When you have a
That ain't
Well,
happening
governor
in
that
your
says,
kingdom.
no,
"Hold
We
no,
can
on,
no,
hold
no.
complain
on."
Let
about
plant
being
style
No,
go.
talked over when we talk
when you
over other people. Hey,
But
Craig,
that's
when
Issa was talking. Let her talk.
thank you. I don't
That's a,
understand like the people that was crying the most about being cut off is
Mm-hmm.
doing cutting off. Anyway, and I live in New York City, right? And I know because we deal with plain officers all the time. It is illegal for you to not show who you are before you start questioning people. You cannot do that. At least here in New York City. I don't know what's going on in y'all state.
They same here in PA, what you just said. Okay, because at the end of the day, the law of the state of Pennsylvania is that the cop
Wait, was
cannot
Issa
demand
done?
ID or anything without
so
proof of a crime.
I guess that
Issa, wait a
I
minute.
guess that
Issa,
a
were you
mayor can
done though? Were
advocate
you
for
done?
doxing
Hold on. It's getting out of
officers.
control.
Hold on.
We're okay with that.
Hold on. Mr. Couche, I know you're very excited, but you got to stop jumping the line. It wasn't done, and then it was plant, and then it was you.
I'm done. Go ahead, Plant.
Okay. So while you guys were talking, like I was gonna touch on it, but a couple people touched on it. You are not legally required to show identification unless you were driving and they stopped you for a traffic violation. Some states do have stop and identify laws, but there is no federal law requiring you to show ID to a law enforcement officer, and that is how it is. And what you were talking about earlier, Craig, about the doxing officers and all that stuff in the comments. Officers are legally required to tell you their badge number and their name. Like they have to do that. So all this stuff about covering their face and protecting they signed up for that job. They knew that when they became an officer, that their life is on the line, that they are serving the people. So when you pull me over or when I see you doing something and I ask for your badge and ID, it is your job as a service officer to the people to provide your badge number. Because we have to know who's detaining us. We have to know who's doing all this, the enforcing. You're obligated to the people. That's just what it is. You
So
signed up for that
you're
job.
assuming that they
Whether it's
don't tell them that, though.
hold up. You can't complain
They
about
don't.
people interrupting you when you interrupt. I'm sick and tired of people complaining about that shit and they don't fucking give an example. God damn. What is this shit? Are we fucking grown? Okay, what I'm saying is it's their job. They are obligated to provide that information, whether you like it or not. Freaking look it up, dude. If you can't show like some freaking law, federal law that says that they don't have to do that, I'm sorry, dude. You just talking. You're just rebutting what people are saying, and you're not really looking shit up. They are obligated to tell you. Okay,
So you're making an assumption
dude,
that they're
hold up.
not telling the people that that's who they are,
No,
though.
but you're
Is it
talking
my
about
turn?
doxing. You're talking about stop, dude. You're talking about doxing, and we need to worry about these.
Purple, can
First
you
off,
keep an
we
order?
don't even
Because I
know
really
if
want to
they're
go.
actual officers. That's the problem. We don't know if he's recruiting people to do these jobs or they're actual officers. When they don't provide their badge number, when they don't provide what district they come from, what office police station that they work for, like we don't know who these people are. That is a problem. They are
Purple,
beholden to the law too. They're not above the law, just like we're not. And
Purple,
the
are you
law
keeping an
says they
order?
have to let
'Cause I
us
really
know
want to
who
go.
they are. And all this stuff about the due process and everything, like they literally taking people out off the freaking parking lot and Home Depot.
That's what
What
I'm
is it?
saying.
Dude, like they're talking,
I
they're
seen that today.
Stephen Miller was hitting up ICE and telling them, y'all, we're not doing enough. We need 3,000 people. We need more people. You need to be going to 7-Eleven, Home Depot, 7-Eleven.
Hmm.
Like, what are we talking about? You, as an officer, if you are going out and picking up somebody, first off, you're supposed to know who you're picking up. You're
And
supposed to
so
have a warrant. You're
Cause,
supposed to know
cause we
exactly where
can.
you're
All
going.
right,
You don't
I'm just
just
gonna jump in.
randomly pick
I'm sorry,
somebody
Purple.
up
I'm gonna
and
be
don't know
rude
what the heck
because
you're
Exactly. That's
doing.
what I
Don't
was
have a
gonna say.
warrant.
no, I'm
These
gonna be
people
rude
don't
because
have
box
warrants. They're not
11's jumping
identifying
in.
themselves. They're just willy-nilly
Purple, I do
storming
apologize.
freaking kids' graduations, and their parents are running, trying to get away from freaking ICE. Like, what are we talking
So
about, bruh?
it's
Like,
you know
when
Man,
who Sean
if you
Reyes
seriously,
is?
hold up.
Let Plant finish,
What is
please.
going on, bruh?
Let
Why
Plant
can't
finish,
we
please.
chill? Is there no freaking patience whatsoever, bruh? And
We've
we get
been
sick,
patient.
we get pissed off when we can't have a freaking conversation. And
No, we
half
are
the
trying to have a
people who
conversation.
complaining are freaking doing the fucking most.
No, we are trying to have a
For real,
conversation.
dude, what are you doing? Bree, what are you doing? I've been sitting here for freaking almost like 3 hours, bruh. Can you count how many freaking times I've said anything? Like, are you for reals?
Yeah.
Y'all don't even want to listen, bruh. You just want to argue. Go
No,
on
we're
ahead.
listening.
all right. I think it's actually my turn. And Plant Style actually summed it up. You know what I mean? Now, I know that state by state, the certain laws that they have based on how they're trying to fight crime may differ. You know what I'm saying? However, you always have to have a cause. It is a violation of your civil liberties for me to
actually, I
just
think it
walk
was
out of my
Jabril
door.
that was it was Jabril next, by the way.
No, it was
But go
actually
ahead.
No,
me.
No, it
it was
It
wasn't.
was me.
it
You
was
know
him.
what? I'm
Plant,
not going to talk.
And
then
then me.
Mr.
I'm so
Touche.
tired of being interrupted by your fucking ass. I'm done talking.
Oh, well, thank you. That's great. Go ahead, Jabril.
Like, and don't fuck with me, Craig, because I got a gun and I would love to kick your ass the fuck out. Don't fuck with me. And I
So
swear to God, because every time I open your mouth, you open up your fucking stinking ass baloney smelling mouth.
hmm
so
So the
I
ad
guess
hominems
here.
just aren't going to work for you, sis. Sorry.
No, I don't give a
Go
fuck
ahead.
what your fat ass got to say.
So
Okay,
Issa,
let's be civil.
you live in New
I'm
York, right?
taking my fucking turn. Excuse me, Jabra, I'm taking
Okay,
my
go ahead.
turn.
I'll go after you.
Because at the end of the day, it is against the law of the land to just randomly walk up to people and start grabbing them, okay, without probable cause, because of the fact that that's profiling. And we're not allowed to do that. We're not allowed to profile. We're not allowed to violate civil liberties. Okay, and all that violates civil liberties. And you're saying you don't know that they're I know for a fact they're not identifying themselves, because when they came to fucking Philadelphia, and my wife, being mixed looking, looked Hispanic, they came on the fucking train, and when they saw my wife get up, because they're coming down there unlabeled, unmarked, all in black, covered up with guns, bitch, my wife got off that train, and when she went to get off the train, they stopped her. And they said, "Where are you going? Why are you running?" She said, "Because y'all on here with guns, looking like y'all looking for somebody. I don't want to be a part of none of this. I don't know if it's a bomb or whatever." She's like, "Who are y'all?" They were like, "Well, do you have ID and all this shit?" They weren't identifying themselves. When they came here to Philly, these motherfuckers was just in the neighborhood grabbing people, and then they set their van on fire. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, but that's not what's going on. They are really just literally grabbing people they think look Hispanic.
As much as I don't want to be on Craig's side, Issa, this is what I've been trying to say the whole time. So a while back, Purple Diva asked me, why do I have so many computers? Why do I have so many servers? I'm going to throw this to Issa. You know who Sean Paul Reyes is? You know what a First Amendment audit is? You know how a First Amendment auditor needs people with servers and computers to do their job. So what you guys are talking about, you guys do realize to identify yourself as a police public servant, that is a policy. That's not federal law. So they're breaking their policy. They're not breaking federal law. And I hate to agree with Craig on this particular point, because I love the First Amendment auditor community. But technically, they don't have to tell you who the fuck they are. And technically, they can detain you for 72 hours. And technically, you can go through that ride and you can sue them for civil, what is it, civil rights liberties? Is that the right terminology? So what we're talking
Civil
about, it is a
liberties.
Civil
very
rights
ugly
violation.
fucking, it's a very fucking ugly system. But technically, Craig is not 100% wrong. This is a country we live in. So they don't really technically need to identify themselves, because that is a policy. It's not a law.
So, um,
I don't
actually,
want to agree with you, Craig. I don't want to agree with you.
I
But go
get it.
ahead.
I get it. So there is federal law that does require them to identify themselves, but the federal regulations state that ICE agents should identify themselves as soon as it is practical and safe to do so. And if you have a mayor in a city that is advocating for doxing agents, they don't have to identify shit until it's safe to do so. So they can take those people, detain those people, get those people back to
Sunshine.
the area they got to be in, get them out and say, this is what you're here for.
It's a, don't get
That's
mad at
that's
me. I don't
that's
want to
how
agree
they
with
do
Craig,
it.
but he's actually right. I don't want to agree with you, Craig. But yeah.
So can
So
I
real
ask you a
quick,
question? I want to ask a
wait,
question though to Craig, or to the panel
wait,
that's saying that this is allowed.
wait,
How
hold
does this
on.
work in a stand your
Excuse,
ground state?
hey, wait. Sunshine posted US code, and I don't know what that US code is. Can you tell us what that code is?
It's the same code why those people died in Texas. Why those like police don't really have to save us. You guys do realize this. Our civil servants, they have a choice to make. They don't have to save us. We seen that in that school shooting in Texas, and they didn't go in there, and people got mad at the police. But technically, the police have a duty to protect themselves first before they protect us, even though they're civil servants. That's what's so fucked up about our Constitution. As much as I don't not want to agree with Craig right now, because I know what's happening in the streets with the immigrants, they're actually just abiding by the law right now, which is fucked up.
Okay, I think it was Issa and then Plant. I think.
So for what Jabril just said, if I can sue them for a violation of my rights, it wasn't legal. Literally, that's the point of suing somebody afterwards. And if and they'll go through the whole process, and if you don't have enough evidence and they determine that the police officers or the ICE officers were in the right to detain you, you don't get any money. But if they wasn't in the right to detain you, you will get money. That means that the ICE officers, where the people were getting money, were acting in illegally. Period. I don't know what part of that aren't y'all understanding. ICE officers are supposed to identify themselves legally. Police officers are supposed to identify themselves. Detective, only time it goes is if you're undercover. ICE officers are not undercover. They don't care. It doesn't matter if y'all fear being doxing. It doesn't matter because the law says that you must identify yourself. I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about at this point, but go off.
I hate going against you, Issa, but I think it's somebody else's turn before mine's.
Yes, it was Plant. Hi. How are you?
So it does matter, though. That matters. If you've
It was
got a
Plant's
mayor
turn.
that says, "Oh,
It
I'm
was
sorry,
Plant's turn.
I'm sorry," go ahead.
Sorry, I'm busy. Hold on, you can go on ahead.
Okay, great. Go
So
ahead.
it absolutely does matter, though. It does. It matters because if you've got a mayor saying that you should find these people's families, dox them, and attack them at home, then those officers are obviously, for good reason, not going to feel safe. And so they are required to identify themselves, but only when it's safe to do so. So they can detain those people, take those people to whatever facility they got to go to conduct their investigation. And once they do that, once they're there, once they've arrived, they can identify themselves. It's safe to do so. They don't have to
But Craig,
identify themselves right off the bat, and they can detain people for up to 72 hours in every state of this country without without charging you.
Issa, he's
That is a
using
fact.
They haven't
Sorry, go
been identifying themselves from the get.
ahead. But
They
he's
came
using
out the
officer
gate like this.
safety, which is not a federal policy. It's a state by state policy. That's what
Um.
he's using right now.
Okay.
Officer safety. That's a
Um.
policy, Craig. It's not federal.
No,
Plant is back, so I'm gonna let her take her
I put it in
turn.
the comments twice already. Hold on.
If they're
Okay.
scrolling, I'm sorry. I
Um,
saw LA Realty had their hand up. I think it's had
I'm
their
gonna be
hand
super
up. I think.
fast.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing that I wanted to say is that there has been an issue with ICE identifying themselves, and you know, executive orders are not um are not official laws. The problem that we have with this current administration is they're treating executive orders as official laws. So we're having an issue with ICE identifying themselves. They didn't wear tactical masks and things like they're doing before when they're picking people up. That was never a thing. Now it's a really big issue. And not only that, there also has been an issue of people impersonating ICE because of this. So now ICE has an issue with people who are doing things in the name of ICE, and it's causing problems with, people trusting the administration. So that's not a good strategy when you don't officially identify yourself and you have people using that as an opportunity to manipulate the system and just snatch people off the street. That's not a good policy. We shouldn't be condoning this as government policy. And that's it.
Okay. It's LA Realty and then Jabril.
I just feel like it's creating a dangerous situation. Like Plant said, if you do not have the ability to know who is grabbing you, that's when it becomes what y'all call it, deep state like. So all that deep state shit that people was talking, this is what the deep state look like when they're able to jump out of cars and masks. Nobody has to identify themselves, and then they snatch your ass. That's deep state. If I ain't never seen deep state, because due to us being in a country of laws, One of the laws is that, well, not one of the laws, but one of the things that we pride ourselves on is our so-called justice system and the ability of our officers to be so upstanding and outstanding, and we have the best in the whole world, supposedly, you know, and our law is above everybody else's law. So why is it now that we doing what every other country and every other continent is doing and disappearing people? Because just about, what, 8 years ago, they were talking about how China disappeared people. Iraq disappeared people. Iran disappeared people. We not like those people. So who are we like now?
As much as I do not want to agree with Craig, the sad part about this conversation we're having right now, that was always in our Constitution. Our civil servants, they have a right to protect themselves. They have a right to feel safe. And they put this officer's safety into policy. I agree with you, sister. It's not a law, but that was always in our Constitution. Do I agree with, and like, I'm not taking Craig's side because I don't agree with people getting abducted on the streets, but that they're actually doing it legally. We think it's illegal. It's only illegal unless you're an American citizen. But they don't know you're an American citizen until you get your due process. That's the fucked up thing that's going on right now. They're actually using the law against us.
It's Saru, and then I have a question for Craig, and then Craig.
You
Peace to the
skipping me,
gods.
Wait, who did I skip? Who did I skip?
Issa.
Issa.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It's a go ahead, then a Saru, and then I have a question for Craig, and then Craig. Go ahead, sweetheart. You went back on mute.
I thought you said you was letting Saru go.
No. I said you, then a Saru, then I have a question for Craig, and then Craig.
Oh, okay, no problem. So again, I don't know why this is so hard. I don't know why we're acting as if, you know, these officers are not supposed to identify themselves because of their safety. I don't know where y'all got that from. I really don't. But like, officers have to identify themselves. ICE agents have to identify themselves. And if you don't believe me, just Google it. Just look it up for yourself, right? And this idea with doxing ICE officers, right? When the mayor is calling for doxing ICE officers, the mayor never calls for doxing ICE officers. At least if you're talking about the mayor in Tennessee, he did an article. He said some names. People came back, was like, oh, you giving out ICE agents' names. He never called for citizens to start like looking up who these people are. He was just literally just doing an interview for an article.
I'm sorry, Issa.
And names. That is not doxing. So unless you can show me where politicians are saying, hey, go and look up, you know, the addresses and shit of these ICE officers, I need y'all to stop saying that and trying to make it as if it's an actual point for this conversation. That's one. Two, I'm going to reiterate, as an officer of the law, you have to identify yourself when approaching a person. You do not have to figure out if they're a citizen or not before you identify yourself. That is not true. If anybody hops out on you with a mask on and fucking throw you and detain you, that's called kidnapping anywhere else. Literally. So I don't know what we're talking about at this point. I just feel as though like people don't like immigrants and we're just cool with the mistreatment of immigrants. And I believe somebody asked this earlier, but it was in the comments. Where are the white immigrants that are being detained? So are you trying to say all of them were here legally? Because
Even
I know
those
of
from
one.
South Africa?
I know of one case in the White House right now who didn't come here legally. because she's nobody's genius. Overstayed her welcome, and she posed for nude magazines that was literally against the visa that she was signing up for. So I'm done. Oh yeah, and Ryan Reynolds was able to make Deadpool 3 during all of this. Now I'm done.
That Canuck. Okay, Osaru, it's your turn, and then I have a question for Craig, and then Craig.
Okay, I'll try to be quick. Issa, what you said is right. The word is contact. Whenever
I'll bring this
an
up again.
official or officiate makes contact with a civilian or a citizen, and that citizen has the right at that moment to ask them for their name and their badge number or a business card if they have it. When people say stop an ID state, there is no stop an ID state. Now, in certain states where you're driving, it's required on a stop. And there's a certain procedure that you could go through. However, like immigrants or somebody that does have legal paperwork, if they're here, regardless of how you look, say you're at work, the first thing, that you do is if they approach you and make contact and you can't visibly see a badge or or any kind of iconography that states that them to be at an official capacity, then you ask them if you're free to leave, and if so, then you leave, and you have the right to refuse any searches or illegal seizures. You still had a right to remain silent, and you plead the fifth. You don't have to discuss your immigration status with anyone. You if they ask you questions like where were you born, whether you're a citizen or not, or how you entered the country, you don't have to answer any of that shit. And if you have valid immigration documents, then you should show them at that time. And if you don't have real documents, don't show them. If you don't have anything, don't say anything. And the thing is, if you're illegal and you've been here for quite some time, there is a process, and there's a process where there's several ways that you could get citizenship, but there's a process that everyone who wasn't born here can go through. And now that law has changed, you best be quiet. And if you're not a citizen, then you can't plead the fifth. Then you tell them that you'd like to speak to a lawyer, because you could very well not be from here but have a valid visa and may not have it on you at that time, or something happened. You don't want to get shipped out of the country or shipped somewhere unlawfully, because even as an immigrant in your status, you do have rights. You don't want civil rights violations, and these people don't care. So anytime you have contact with an officer or someone posing as an officiate, you have the right to get their name and their badge number. And if they refuse, then you refuse. It's a lot of times that people just walk up. They have to have what's called RAS. It's called reasonable articulable suspicion for PC, which is probable cause to do anything to you. Even and I don't care if anybody argues with me with this, but I'm getting ready to shut up. If a cop says, "Hey, you come here," you've just been arrested by a police officer, literally, because they've given you a directive. Now, you don't know the terms of the directive, but if they ask you to do that, then you tell them, am I free to go? Because this status is something that's integral. Every time you make contact, there's a process that you have to go through, because there's a fucking process that they violate that they're supposed to go through. Also, you look up 1983 violation. That's a violation of protocol. It removes qualified immunity. I'm gonna shut up because this is one of the subjects I like. I see you playing style.
So Craig, it's your turn, but I wanted to ask you a question first. You have asked if we condone doxing police officers. So clearly, you're about protecting police officers and this, that, and the third. So my question to you is, how do you feel about the police officers that were harmed on January 6th?
Ooh,
Because
good
they
question.
weren't. And how do you feel about those same officers, I mean, those same assailants being pardoned for putting the life of police officers in harm's way?
Okay, so that's a pretty loaded question, and I know why you did it. And I like the way you did that. That's fine. What I will say, is those officers that were hurt, that was an atrocity for those people. But 1,500 of the people that were charged under January 6th never even entered the building. They never even went.
Okay, what about those who actually harmed police officers that were pardoned?
Craig, just go ahead and bow with this question.
No, hold on a minute. I'm dealing with something family
Craig,
shit. Hold on.
no, Craig. And I've been on your side, Craig. But good question, Purple. Touche.
I think for some people, it only matters when the other side is hurting the officers. So I wanted to see his take on it.
Can I add something really briefly? Because I was sharing my screen. Y'all do realize that box six, yes, I love First Amendment auditors. I probably know more people that has been arrested 10 times more than anybody on this panel because I support the First Amendment auditors. They do not have to identify. That is a policy. And if you guys pay attention to what's going on, I do not want to side with Craig right now. I know the shit that is going on in these fucking streets is fucked up, but they're using our own laws against us. They are exploiting the laws. So when we watch these YouTube videos of, you know, I don't need to get out the car. You need probable cause. No, it's actually a law right now. If an officer asks you to get out the car, you need to get out the car for officers' safety. That's a policy. It's not fully a federal law, but it's a policy. And if you deny that, you will be arrested. Now, if you're a passenger in the seat of this stop, you don't have to identify. But if they have reasonable articulable suspicion that you have committed a crime, oh, they can fuck you up. They're using our laws against us. I do not want to agree with Craig right now. We
No,
gotta
you're
like
right, Jabril. You're
we
right.
have to wake up in this world we live in. The world
They
we live
are.
in right
They're
now,
using the laws
sometimes we
against
just
them.
gotta shut up and let them do
Shut
what the
up.
fuck
Yeah.
they're gonna do and file our lawsuit. The
Yeah.
world we live
Yeah,
in
but
right
Exactly.
now,
at
they're
what point
using it
does
against us.
the Fourth Amendment kick in? At
Oh,
what point does search and seizure kick in?
And
Wait, can
When
I'll be honest,
if they don't create exigent circumstances for them to do that to you, because running your mouth can do that. When you
exactly.
say things to them, they're talking to you because they want to create exigent circumstances. What are exigent
exactly.
circumstances? These are circumstances where they'll make an emergency or something that, oh, it's imminent danger, so we have to go in your house. No, if you don't have a warrant signed by a judge and you can't leave it on the steps, slide it in the mailbox, put it through a crack in the window, or hold it up at the window so I can see it, I'm not opening the fucking door.
Can
that
I tell you?
part?
Can I tell you a story? 4 years ago,
Your
my girlfriend.
that
Go ahead.
thing that you're talking about, are you saying First Amendment auditors?
Yeah, I support that group
Oh,
heavily. This is why I have so many servers. This is why I
now
never
our First
answered Purple's question when she
Amendment
messaged me. Go ahead.
So you're breaking up. It said we can't hear you.
I said our First Amendment auditors, government officials, or
Some of
an
them are.
equivalent ICE officer, or is it equivalent to an ICE officer?
First Amendment auditors. I think I know why you asking this question. Some of those channels you watch, they do work for the government. Most of those channels you watch, this is why I said Sean Paul Reyes from Long Island Audits, ISA. I do definitely
Mhm.
support his channel. and this is why I have so many computers, why I never answer purple question, why I have this many computers. A lot of those auditors, they're trying to show you the rights you do have. But what they're showing you amongst that is how the government has rights too.
But you're using them as a fact for why people don't have to identify themselves.
No, I'm
Because
using them as a fact of people go out here thinking they know the law. And it's a policy because every
agreed.
auditor knows this is a policy. It's not federal law. You was breaking up, Esther, and I love you, sister. Every auditor
That,
knows this is a
huh?
go ahead. No,
You're
every auditor
breaking up,
knows
Issa.
this is
No,
a
I'm not
policy.
talking about actors, right? Because the conversation we were having as a whole was if about the ICE officers and police officers and if they have to identify themselves.
They don't. Their policy
Yes,
says yes. No, their
they
policy
do.
says yes, but you can't sue them for that.
Officer doesn't is if they're undercover.
So my question is, if it's just a policy and not a law,
That's
then
the real
why do
question.
we why do we as citizens have to follow a policy, and if we don't, we're subject to potentially beating and arrest?
That's the real question. So every auditor out there, they know this is a policy, and you can never sue an officer for not identifying themselves. You can never do that. What you can do to an officer, we're breaking your civil liberties and your right to due process by detaining you for no reason. But they technically, if they feel danger, they don't have to identify.
And search and
They can only
seizure.
be they can only be disciplinary by their office, not the government. Every auditor goes through this all the time. So they can have something on their jacket. That's what the police say. So on your jacket, you have a complaint. But by federal law, the law doesn't care about that. Only where they work at cares about that.
Well, I am sad that we lost Craig before I could figure out if he was a hypocrite or not when it came to protecting police officers. Oh,
Man,
well.
fuck them niggas. But I came up. Craig is gone. I will replace Craig right now. Because as much as I
Okay.
do not want to
So,
agree with Craig, he's actually telling the truth. They're using the
so
law against us.
what I'd like to do, because I think we wrapped up this section, what I'd like to do is move on to the final bit of business, the elephant in the room of a campaign promise that was not kept, the Epstein files.
Oh shit! I'm gonna mute up.
Go ahead, agnostic.
Before we move on, I want to say that it depends on state too, because in New York City, it is law. Where in other states it might not be, and I understand that it's not the case federally, but in New York State, that's why I'm never leaving NYC. Yeah, it's law over here. I like my plane.
You do realize one of the auditors I support is Sean Paul Reyes, Law and Island Audits. He's in New York. It's not law. It's policy.
NYC law, NYC officers must identify themselves and the reason for their presence when investigating criminal activity. Yeah, it's law,
I think we
but
should
it's state
differentiate
law.
between New York City and
Here,
Long
not
Island.
no more. We're done with Frick.
The,
Thank you.
the file will be revealed, opened in public and revealed.
I'm sorry, what was that? Box two?
I'm sorry. I said, do you guys think that the Epstein files will ever be made public?
I do not. I do not.
I agree. I agree with you.
So for me personally, because people will say, well, the Democrats weren't doing this during Biden, this, that, and the third. I thought the case was done. Epstein was dead. Jolene was in jail for 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw the flight manifest. Not everybody
Mhm.
who was on that flight manifest was going over there to do nasty work. I mean, I've known for a long time that Trump is smarmy when it comes to young girls. Um, Craig and I had a discussion earlier where he was Trump saying that his daughter has a nice rack, and he hit that if he could was just his way of saying that his daughter is beautiful. I can guarantee you, if my daddy had said that to me, I would be like, "Oh, yo,
Yeah.
gross." I'm
I
telling
think
mom.
I
That's
think
just the
that
thing.
will never
I
be
was
made
gonna say.
public because of the damage it would do to the politicians who are still in power. There'd be a lot of people on that list.
That may be the case, but for me, and I'll open it up to the panel. I no longer gave a damn because, like I said, as far as I was concerned, it was over with. But what we learned from Nixon, it's not always about the crime; it's the cover up.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
when they started getting dicey about it, saying that saying that they had the file on the desk, and then all of a sudden there's no file.
Yes.
And then well, we don't want to expose people who weren't committing crimes. Then don't lie about they're not. Just say exactly that. We don't want to release it because we don't want to expose people who had legitimate business with him. Not all of a sudden the file, the client list doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I see you
Yeah.
guys. I think it was Issa Jabril and then Las Vegas. I'm gonna finish what I'm saying.
I'm sorry, I
The
didn't mean to. I was just wondering how y'all what was y'all's how
You're
y'all
fine.
felt about that. But
You're
I'll
fine.
just join the conversation.
And we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out how we all feel about it.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, I think it's very telling that after Pam, the Attorney General, lied, that we haven't heard anything from Cash Patel and Beyond Borgino. And I think it's because they're pissed because they know that it was a lie, and they've been made to look like fools because they've been pushing for the Epstein files the whole time. It was a campaign promise that was not kept. I think the fix is in because um, Ghislaine Maxwell, her attorney, and the deputy attorney general, who was Trump's personal attorney, let's not forget that, is also very good friends with Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney. So if anybody for 1 second thinks that Trump's former personal attorney is going to go in there without Trump's best interest at heart, is smoking something. If you think that these two buddies aren't going to collude to either hide the information, most likely bury the information, you're asleep at the wheel. If you think he's not going to pardon her, I got a Brooklyn Bridge to sell you, because he hasn't said, no, I won't pardon her. He's been saying, it's in my power. I haven't thought about it, but it's in my power.
Mhm.
Nigga, just say no. It's simple. It's very
Yep.
simple. And the other point I wanted to make is, people are trying to defend him over this drawing, right? So
Hmm.
information about the drawing comes out. First thing out of his mouth is, I don't draw, right?
Yeah.
Then people go, crawling through one of his books where he says, oh yeah, I draw, I doodle all the time. I doodle for charity. So now today he's like, well, I draw, but just for charity. Everything is a lie with him, right? And you can't tell me, like I said earlier, that as close as he was to Jeffrey Epstein, he did not know that Jeffrey was getting down like that. Now, I know dudes are different. You know, my best friend knows all my dirt. I know all her dirt. And we keep it between the two of us because that's what best friends do. And I know dudes are a little different, but you can't tell me that the two of them didn't wink, wink, nudge, nudge each other because they both had this thing for young girls. One of the ladies who first went to the FBI, she was 25 at the time. Her sister was 16. Happened, I believe, in Mar-a-Lago. She's there. Trump comes in, is looking her up and down, and she did this interview the other day. And Jeffrey says, no, 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 no. She's not for you. And Trump mumbles, oh, I thought she was 16. Her sister was 16, and her sister had was getting trapped up in that. And she panicked. She's like, well, they're gonna take my sister and every other 16-year-old here. So she went to the FBI. The FBI, and this was like in the late 90s. The FBI didn't follow up until 2008. Now, we can talk about that little sweetheart deal he got from Acosta, who later became Trump's labor secretary. Why is that? We also need to remind people that the case, the arrest and his death and Julian's jailing happened during the first Trump administration. Between 2018 and 2019. They keep trying to throw this on Obama and Biden. No, this happened during the Trump administration. And the first arrest happened during the Bush administration, the one where he got the sweetheart deal. So we need to stop letting them try to throw the Biden administration and the Obama administration under the bus, because this happened on Republicans' watch, right? The other thing we need to call them out on is the fact that, one, they will not release grand jury testimony. They will not. But they knew this. So now what they're going to do is say, oh, we tried to get it, but the judge ruled against us, that radical judge. And the final point I'm going to make before I open it up is look at the red meat. He's being asked about Jeffrey Epstein. He lies his little smarmy way out of it. And then he's like, Obama, Hillary, Clinton, woke police, bring back the Redskins. Kamala Harris did campaign fraud and paid Beyonce $11 million, Oprah $2 million, and Al Sharpton $500,000. Obama committed treason. He's trying to throw everybody off the scent. He's throwing out stuff that normally gets his base all fired up, so they'll see that shiny object and not think about those breadcrumbs. Pay attention. The fix is in. Oh, I'm sorry. One last thing. The line prosecutor who sent Jeffrey Epstein to jail was James Comey's daughter. She was the line prosecutor that did all this. And at first, I thought she got fired because her last name is Comey. Because why wouldn't it, right? Because he hates James Comey. But then I found out that she was the prosecutor. She's the one that knows that case inside and out.
Wow.
She knows who's in those files and who's in those reports. So yes, fire her and silence her. That's what they would do. Okay. It's open. Go ahead.
What if what is his name? Epstein? What if he's not really dead? What if it's a hoax? Because there was no reports of him having a funeral or anything like that. I heard people talking on the news saying he could still be alive. They shipped him somewhere else. And some of the footage in the jail is missing. So, I mean, that's hard to believe he's just gone. He's dead. No.
I guess he's over there with Tupac and Elvis. Go ahead, Issa.
It's sketchy. It's kind of sketchy.
For me, either way, it will just show how complicit these rich one percenters are in with Jeffrey Epstein. Whether they killed him, whether they spirited him away on a boat in the depths of the night, that just tells me that y'all was on that island too. all of you.
And you
And
find out later on that he's not really dead if you find out about it. You know that he's alive.
that if I find out a year from now that he's not really dead and he's on some island, I would say that the government did it, because who else would be able to break somebody out of jail, pretend that they're dead for years, and then get them to another island?
So what do you think about the missing footage?
If he's
Like,
a, we'll
What do
never
you think
know.
about that?
I don't know. I just want to take my turn because I raised my hand and you were after Jabril, Las Vegas.
Okay.
So I just want to take my turn. I feel as though everybody who thought that he was going to release anything that has to do with Epstein is a fucking dumbass, right? And the fact that our country is filled with dumbasses pisses me off. You really thought that this nigga was really going to implement himself in those type of charges by releasing anything that had to do with it, knowing that they were best friends during the time of the island? You got pictures of him on the island, and just like what Purple said, like birds of the feather flock together. Y'all was boys. And I would love to read. I want to read for y'all a quote by Trump on Howard Stern show.
Oh, please do.
And he about the Miss Teen USA. Remember, he used to own Miss Teen USA. And he says, I'll go backstage before a show and everyone's getting dressed and I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant. You know, they're standing there with no clothes and you see the incredible looking woman. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
Predatory behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And coupled with what he said about his daughter, he
And
likes
then
him
we got
young.
At
Mr.
about
Voice,
15 years.
there's other people. There's other people ahead of you, Mr. Voice.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
We and the fact that, you know, we kind of keep on overlooking all these pedophiles in our midst really just highlights for me that, yeah, this country was built on criminals. Like, Britain didn't send their best here. They didn't send, you know, kings and queens here. They was dumping their prisons out here. And that's why all of y'all retards think it's okay that this nigga's president. I'm sorry.
No, you good.
Say what you mean.
And I think it's one of the reasons that I was kind of done with it was all the conspiracy theories that have been wrapped into it, right? Because it became a circus. You know, it's one thing to be about the credible sexual abuse that Epstein and his cronies, and he had over $1 billion, and it wasn't. I don't believe that was all because he was good at math. I think he was I think he was selling girls.
Yeah.
But to wrap that credible, horrible situation in with Pizzagate and trafficking babies under LA and purifying their blood and drinking them, you know, it's like you can't, you gotta separate the wheat from the chaff, and it just wasn't doing that for me. You know, it kept getting weirder and weirder and weirder. So, you know, like I said, once she was in jail and he was dead, I no longer cared. But they wanted to get to the bottom of it and ferret out the Hollywood elite and all those people in Washington.
Yeah.
I just want to say this last. He was willing to push out like the aliens documentaries before he did this.
Yeah, I remember that.
Answer for y'all for a while.
Wait, what?
You don't remember?
I remember that.
About aliens and how the government is going to release the information that
All
they
of
had
a
on
sudden, to throw us off.
Oh yeah. Oh, and don't forget releasing the King papers. What was that
Crazy.
about?
That was supposed to last longer, so you forget about Epstein.
That's
Right.
it.
They throw us off.
You think
Yes.
that maybe they used, I know P. Daddy was no saint, but do y'all ever think that maybe they used P. Daddy as sort of wag the dog, what they call wag the dog, to
Um, that's a
get it
good
off
question.
of
That's a good.
Epstein?
That's a good question. I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
That's what they do. It's called
Trump is
wag the
using
dog.
all. It's Trump. Trump using all type of diversities to
Yeah.
for it not
Diversities.
to deflect on him.
Trump will go to no
Yeah.
limit
That's
to
what he's
get.
doing.
Jabril, didn't you have your hand up at some point and maybe Plant?
And this is all about Trump, but why is it
Yeah, I did
about
a while
Epstein?
ago.
That's what I want to know. Why is it about Epstein instead of Trump?
Because
It's based on Trump because he's in those files. So
Well,
why
Trump
is
was
it about Epstein so much instead of
Trump was
Trump?
So
responsible.
I want to let Plant go because she had her hand up a while ago.
Hmm.
I mean, it wasn't anything like, because I mean, I think Las Vegas was saying something about him not having a funeral. And from my understanding, like, if somebody dies in prison, they're serving time, their body doesn't get released to like their family members or to anybody. Like, the prison or wherever they're incarcerated, they deal with the body, whether they cremate it or bury it in their own little cemetery or whatever they have there. I don't know, but from my understanding, they don't release bodies.
uh,
No,
I
I've known
don't know.
people that were in jail. They had a funeral.
Yeah, a lot of times it shows up on YouTube when somebody dies, like the funeral. He didn't have no funeral, nothing.
Would they
Hmm.
have a funeral in the prison? Or they're just having a ceremonial funeral? Like, are they actually burying the body? That's what I'm saying. I don't think they ever get the body back.
They didn't
No,
say
they
anything
do
about it.
because once they're dead, right? So there's
Hmm.
some amount of processing that probably has to go through, just like
Oh,
with
okay.
regular autopsy. But
Yeah.
I've seen plenty of people who died in jail and then had a funeral with their family.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Wouldn't legally they have to turn the body over to the family?
Well, not
Yeah, I
really,
would think
because
so.
they're prisoners. Like, they're doing their time. Like, they don't. I don't think they really do.
Yeah, I mean, once they're dead, they're dead. But I could see a situation where the family doesn't claim the body, or they don't have family, and they get like a pauper's grave. Mm. Mr. Voice, you had your hand up, and in Las Vegas, you asked a question that I'm going to attempt to answer.
Let
Okay.
me say this: that if you did wrongdoing, right? Because this is the second time that his sins have been covered up by the fact that he's now the president. So if you've been out on Epstein's boat and there's evidence of you doing that, and you have the ability to cover that up or just not have it released at all, that's what he's doing. Whatever dirt Epstein was into, his hands are dirty too, right? So if I can stop that, then y'all will never know anything else about it. And here's the thing: if you've seen just the videos of him showing up at parties, you knew that they had a strong relationship. So the
Yep, he was
theory
at
is
his
whatever
wedding.
Epstein was in, he was into too.
Yeah,
And
he was.
those papers prove that. Plain and
Yeah,
simple. That's it.
he was at his wedding to Marla. They lived next door to
Wow.
each other. They lived next door to each other down in West Palm. He lived right next door to Mar-a-Lago. Oh, and the news story is so Trump says that he broke off their friendship because he thought that Epstein was a creep. No, I'm sorry, a crook, and left it at that. Then today he comes out and says that he broke off his friendship because Epstein kept hiring his people. His exact words were, he was hiring the help from him. I see you, Plant. Let me try to answer Las Vegas's question as to why it's about Trump and not Epstein. Because this is a campaign promise that Trump made. he got the QAnon people and all the people who believe in this conspiracy theory riled up, because this has been their mission for years, because they believe that there is a pedophile ring. Remember Pizzagate?
Right. Yeah.
So he got all these people all riled up in a Twitter, harkening back to Bambi. And some people voted for him on that principle. They were a one issue voter, getting the pedophiles out of Washington, and out of, who's this? Out of Washington and out of Hollywood, right? And
Hmm.
so now they're seeing the fixes in, because of what's been happening over the last 4 weeks. Mind you, the Wall Street Journal has reported in the last 2 days that Pam Biondi knew that he was in the files and told him that back in May. That kind of corresponds with when she said that the files are on my desk. And then a few weeks after that, in June, she's like, there is no file. And if you want the argument to be that you don't want to expose innocent people, because there were people who were just doing legitimate business over there, then you say that. We don't want to release the files because we don't want to drag innocent people in there. Not
Right.
all of a sudden the
They're
file
playing
doesn't
games.
exist. Right, they're playing games. And he's getting caught up in his own lies. Because now MAGA feels like he wasn't serious. And the reason he wasn't serious is because he is guilty. If you listen to some of the right-wing podcasts and these hardcore MAGA people that were pushing for it, one of them, Andrew Schultz, the minute he heard him accuse Obama for treason, he was like, "Oh, Trump did it.
I knew that was a
Trump's
lie.
guilty.
I
Trump's
knew right
lying.
off hand.
He's guilty." And to if I can say to MAGA's credit, and I hate to say those two words, but they're not falling for his okey doke right now. All these names he's throwing out and talking points he's throwing out to throw them off the scent. No,
Yeah.
they're staying on it because they believe this in their heart, that there are half of Washington and half of Hollywood are pedophiles. And they see Trump being self-serving. And they see that Trump is his story is changing. And he's like, "No, I'm not gonna call the man a pedophile." But I will say that I believe that he is very, very much complicit in the real pedophiles. Because don't forget, Ghislaine Maxwell is a pedophile too. Some of the ladies have said that, she did have sex with them. But for me, it's not even if she had
But
sex
how
with
do
them or
you know?
not.
You saying you're not gonna call Trump that, but how do you know he's not in those files being a pedophile?
I don't. And
Pedophile, I mean.
and well, pedophile is a very strong accusation, and that's just
It
my
is.
personal preference. That's just my
Mm-hmm.
personal preference. You know,
Yeah.
I'll go as far as to say he's complicit, and I'll go as far as to call Ghislaine Maxwell a
Mm.
pedophile. Apart above and apart beyond her having sex with some of the girls, the very fact that she was grooming them for a pedophile makes her just as much a pedophile in my eyes. It might even be in the eyes of the law. I don't know.
When I saw the video, it was sickening because he was looking at a lady's butt or these young girls' butt at the pageant. What do you call it? The pageant where
Yeah,
where they're
that's what it
they're
said.
like at
That's what
the
it said.
dinner table, the
That's
dinner
what Issa was
table,
talking about. Yeah.
and he
Um,
was looking at their butt, and I'm like, why is he doing that? Like, it doesn't
because
make
he's
any
gross.
sense. Like,
Because he's gross. Plant style, you had your hand up. Go ahead, love.
So I looked into the thing about the bodies, and they can release them, but also it says that his brother picked up his body from the New York City Medical Examiner's office following his death, and also that his brother has been actively involved in questioning the circumstances surrounding his brother's death and the handling of his estate. Like they're pressing for like another investigation into his death.
Yeah,
oh
So
no,
they
yeah, his,
definitely claimed his body,
oh
but
no.
if you didn't see a funeral, it's probably because they didn't want you to see one. But they picked up
yeah,
his body.
his brother Mark, right?
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah,
He picked it up.
and by the way, Jeffrey Epstein, his estate is still very. I see you now. So I'll come to you right quick. His estate is very much active, and the lawyer for several of his victims have said that the copy of the book, his estate lawyers have it, and all you have to do is subpoena it, and then they can see we can see for ourselves, because Trump uses Sharpies. He has very
Mhm.
distinct signature. So we'll see if he made his signature into the pubic hair or not. Go ahead, sister.
I want to add, he came out a few days saying at a press conference that basically, he should be, the people that live with him should be investigated. If you knew that there were people that live with him, why you never turned this information a long time ago? All of a sudden, now it's wild. He knows his back is against the wall. Now he's getting ready to throw everybody under the bus. And he have y'all seen the deposition? Einstein's deposition? Remember, Trump said if you plead the fifth, you gotta be guilty. How many times Epstein was claimed the Fifth Amendment? He claimed the three amendments. I forgot what were the
Yes.
other two.
He when he was asked specifically about Trump, he claimed the first, the fifth, and the fourth. I don't know why he claimed the first and fourth, but he said, I'm exercising my right for the fifth, the fourth, and the first. Interesting.
Mhm.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So anyway, the fix is in, and and here's the thing, Bill Clinton wrote a letter that was in the book too. Did Bill Clinton lie and say that wasn't me? It was like
I didn't hear
he was,
that.
he was like, yeah, I wrote it. We were acquaintances at the time.
Wow.
A lot of people wrote a letter and added it to the book, and it's also come out that some of the girls helped build that book. I don't know what the book looks like. I imagine it looks like a scrapbook, right? And each page
Mhm.
has a letter or a card on it, and it was assembled. And some of the girls had to help put that together. So we have eyewitnesses, and not one of these women who were girls has been called incredible or uncredible. I don't know, not credible. Not one. Their testimony was enough to get him jailed, Angeline jailed as well. So what we're not going to do is say, oh, of course, believe the women. Oh, the women this, they had these were young girls as young as 14 who aged out at 18 like they were in the foster system. Angeline was a master at finding the right girls. A lot of these girls did not have fathers present, or they, lived in abusive homes with alcoholic parents, were in the foster system, very poor. She bought some of these girls with tennis shoes, took them shopping, told them they were gonna be modeling, and next thing you know, they're giving Jeffrey Epstein they're becoming his masseuses. I don't know what's the plural masseuse, masseuse. I don't know. And some of the girls who did those massages said that every single time it ended up sexually, and not just rubbing his naked body, but he would touch them and make them perform sex acts. 14, 15. There is nothing on this planet that you can't tell me Trump knew about all that stuff
Mhm.
and turn a blind eye because he thought it was cute. oh, Jeffrey, he likes him young. Trump himself comes out about how he likes younger.
Yeah,
He
he
gets
did
his
say that.
little mushroom sized penis hard just thinking about young girls.
He said he said it with his own words too. I heard him say it on TV. Like, wow.
About his daughter.
Mm, man.
So
No, he was saying it about what is his name? Howard Steen, his daughter.
Howard Stern. No,
Yeah,
I don't think Howard Stern has a daughter.
I think I think yeah, he does. Because he was on the show, like on a talk show, and Trump was saying, "What about your daughter?" and this and that. And
Oh,
he was saying
okay.
some dirty stuff. I didn't want to
I stand, I stand corrected
even look.
then.
Yeah, I didn't want to listen to that. Like, I turned it. Like, man, I didn't know Trump was that way.
Yeah. Well,
So
at the end of
yeah,
the day, just know the fix
and
is
then
in,
and then
and
Angeline said he was on the files too. So it's like he's a part of the file.
Angeline, you mean the blonde, big boob blonde who used to be on the billboards in L.A.
The
That
one, the
Angeline?
one, the one that's in jail that's going to serve 20 years,
Oh,
may not
Jolene.
serve 20 years.
Oh, Jolene. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
her
Jolene,
name is,
I forgot.
yeah,
Yeah.
or
And
Ghislaine or something like that.
yeah, Trump said he ain't going to pardon her because she knows too much on him. And if he pardons her, she's going to spill the beans on him.
Well, like I said, he has not said no. He's had every opportunity to say no, and he keeps
And
saying,
he's
"Well,
not.
I haven't really thought about it, but it's in my power."
He's not
And
going to do it.
understand,
He's talking.
she's she's getting ready. She is getting ready to go. Her case is getting ready to go in front of the Supreme Court because they're making an argument that she
Wow.
was not able to lodge the proper defense because she wasn't able to testify.
Hmm.
So we'll see how that goes. But at the end of the day, the fix is in. And I am too scared to see what's going to happen when it doesn't go MAGA's way. When they find out that he's in the files or they
Oh,
keep
God.
obstructing, because that's what they're doing. They're obstructing.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
don't tell me the deputy attorney general is his personal freaking attorney. He's like, I'm gonna go get to the bottom of this. No, he went to see what she knows so he can report back what she's gonna say.
Wow.
And like I said, hi, and like I said, that the deputy attorney general is really good friends with her attorney. Her attorney was running a podcast, and they were on there having a bro fest.
Hey,
You're
did
one of the.
y'all
You're
ever
one.
ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Hey, why is it that since why are they talking about all this now? Why are all the Democrats screaming about this Epstein stuff and they were in power for the last 8 years and all this stuff been in a possession? And you see how corrupt all this corruption they've been coming up and they've been trying to kill this dude, calling him a fascist and all that. That's been the narrative on the media and stuff. So why is it far fetched that everybody think that Trump is actually in this indicated for some type of wrongdoings in this thing? But yeah, it ain't
Okay.
really been no evidence of that.
Okay. So let's take a little bit at a time. So, do you know when Jeffrey Epstein was arrested and when he died? When he was arrested the second time and when he died. Do you know what year that was?
I can't recall what year. What year was it?
It was 2019. Do you know who was president in 2019?
19. What was that? That was 19 was oh, but wait a minute. If this is 2025, so boom, boom. What was that?
Trump.
19. Yeah, Trump was in office at that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. So I don't know what you're talking about. 8 years. Um,
Well,
I-
for the last 4 or 5 years. Well,
Well, I can't speak for them, but I can tell you my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
My mindset was twofold. One, she's in jail, he's dead. Justice is served.
Mm-hmm.
It's closed. My other mindset was some of this had become a circus because it had been wrapped up in Pizzagate and all these conspiracy theories. But then I go back to he's dead, she's in jail, justice served. Now, why has it exploded the way it's exploded right now? Is because it's not
Mm-hmm.
always about the crime, it's about the cover up. MAGA is the one that was pushing the release of these files. This was a campaign promise that Donald Trump ran on. Donald Trump said he was going to get to the bottom of it. He was going to get the Epstein files released because MAGA believes that Hollywood and Washington, D.C. is full of pedophiles. They've made a cottage
True.
industry out of this and Pizzagate and this, that, and the third. So it was on their agenda to get to the bottom of it. That was his campaign promise. So he gets into
Mm-hmm.
office and they're holding him to it. Okay. You said you were going to, release the Epstein files and the client list so we could see who all these pedophiles are in Hollywood and DC and get them arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the problem became these last couple months when they started lying, saying that there was a client list and that there wasn't a client list.
Mm-hmm.
And then stuff started coming out in drips and drabs, and he was lying about it each time, like with the letter. Oh, I don't draw. Well, yes, you do draw. You already
I,
said you draw.
I
I,
I
I
think he
I
doing
barely.
it. I think he doing something strategic. He doesn't move the way you think he gonna move. He always move in a different way.
No,
And
but he is moving
yeah, he
exactly. But this time he's moving exactly how we feel because of how what he's doing, right? So
that's what he been doing, and he been wrong every other time. Every time they try to hit this dude, he always slide up out of there real slick.
ex-
But no,
except
but
for
with this Obama, with all this Obama stuff that's popping up, with how they how they set up that Russiagate stuff. I think he gonna chime both of those things in at the same time. Once he get all of that stuff together, he gonna push everything out. That's what I think.
so
Because Obama
so here's
definitely did that. That was bombshell
no
stuff that they pulled out.
no no. So you're falling for the okey doke. You're falling for the okey doke
What?
because
All right. What am I
as,
missing?
as soon as the heat came on, when people every single time people asked him about this Epstein stuff in the last couple weeks, he starts throwing out
Mm-hmm.
red meat, trying to get people off the scent. And MAGA is not
Mm-hmm.
falling for it. See, okay, were you in the book? First he lies and says he doesn't draw. Then they pull out a book that he wrote where he says, oh, he draws all the time and he does it for charity. And then so he says, oh, I draw, but I never draw a woman's body. And then he spends
Okay.
all weekend saying, um, Hillary, better emails,
Mm-hmm.
Benghazi, uh, Bill Clinton, Obama committed
Mm-hmm.
treason.
Mm-hmm.
Kamala Harris committed campaign fraud because she bought Beyonce's
She
endorsement for
did
$11
spend
million.
$2 billion. She spent $2 billion and lost.
It doesn't matter because what he's saying is a lie. He
Mm-hmm.
said that she bought Beyonce's vote for $11 million, and that's campaign fraud. And look at the thing that Beyonce did. The campaign paid $135,000 for production costs, which is the same that the Trump campaign did for their production costs. When they were on TV and having these rallies and this, that, and the
It
third,
wasn't
the
the same way
campaign
though. It
it
wasn't the
absolutely
same
was.
way.
It absolutely was the
Nope.
same way because it was filed with the SEC.
Okay.
You lie on the SEC, that's campaign fraud. You're going to jail. So you're falling for the okie doke, saying that she paid Oprah $2 million for her endorsement. No, It was something like $175,000 for her production costs. The same line items that Trump had on his campaign for his rallies and production costs.
But
So you're following
didn't
for the okay.
she?
You're buying
Didn't
it.
she?
You're
No.
buying
Didn't she spend over $2 billion, and all these people
it.
got paid, and people from her own side even was
They did not.
complaining
They did
about
not.
all of that.
They did not get paid illegally. And again, Trump had a war chest himself, and he paid people the same way. That's how campaigns run. And then you
Not $2 billion
report it.
though.
And then you report it. It doesn't matter how much she spent. It matters that she accounted for it. She did the legal paperwork. We could complain all we want about 2 billion being too much or not enough or this, that, and the third. At the end of the day, she followed the law. She reported it. She line itemed it, just like the Trump campaign. There's no there. And she certainly did
Hmm.
not pay. She certainly did not pay Beyonce 11 million and Oprah 2 million. The
All right.
paperwork is
Well,
the
we
paperwork.
will see. We will see. All the tea
The,
is coming
pa- the,
out though.
pa- the paperwork is the paperwork, but you're falling for the okey doke.
I'm not
He
distracted for it.
distracted
I'm
you.
just watching.
You
I'm
know,
watching.
he distracted you. He distracted
You
you
ain't
from
it?
the fact that he is balls deep, and a pun intended, that he's balls deep in this Epstein stuff. The men, they were best friends for 15 years. You don't tell me he didn't
He the one
know.
who threw him out of his house and everything.
And
Yeah,
and you
he
know what?
definitely
And you know
denounced
what?
it.
And you know what? Epstein said the exact opposite. What Trump said that he stopped being friends with Epstein because he thought he was a crook. Today,
Yeah, that's what
Trump
he said.
said
No, it was because of something that he did to a girl or something. That's what it was. He
no.
gonna yeah
That
it
is
was
not that is not what Trump said.
that he hit.
I'm gonna tell you what came out of Trump's mouth. Trump said last week that he broke off their friendship because he thought that Jeffrey was a crook. Today, Trump said the reason he broke off his friendship with Epstein was because Epstein kept hiring his employees. Trump said he kept trying to hire the help from me, and I told him to stop and don't do it again. And then he did it again, hiring my employees. So I cut it off with him because I didn't want him hiring the help from me.
Where is
Now
that
what?
source? Where you get the source of that from?
Out of his mouth. Hold on,
You heard him
hold on,
specifically say.
hold on, hold on. Cause I don't say stuff that I can't back up. Panel, tell
No,
him,
I
let
don't
him
believe.
know. Let him know,
Mm-hmm.
panel.
She's right, because I heard it. I heard it on the news, but
You heard him specifically say it.
out of his mouth on the
Okay.
news. I heard everything that she's saying. It was shown on the news on CNN, because I watch CNN all the time, like
But
constantly, to know
CNN is
what's going
liberal.
on.
But CNN is the arm of the Democrat Party though.
It doesn't
They
matter.
everything they
No,
say
it
is
doesn't.
negative on Trump.
No, it doesn't matter if they're showing him say it. That's the point. I'm gonna try and I'm gonna get the details, and I'm gonna see if I can find it on YouTube.
It was also on C-SPAN, because I watch C-SPAN too. You know, the Congress, they vote on different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it
I
was
don't
on
really
there
trust
too.
them, but I don't trust them because you saw what they CNN did when
Oh
Tulsi Gabbard
yeah,
was announcing all of that. I don't trust them, man. They
yep.
bogus, man. They definitely bogus.
C-SPAN is a
CNN,
camera on.
MSNBC, all of them. They definitely just hate Trump.
Do you know what C-SPAN is? C-SPAN is a camera on the floor. It's raw footage.
Oh, I'm talking about
Yeah, yep,
CNN.
it's raw
The way that
footage.
No, but
it's just
he
no.
said
I'm just saying the
C-SPAN.
way that the media always pushes everything. They always pushing some type of
But
conspiracy on
not
this
on
dude. It's
C-SPAN.
like
I don't
I
Not on
think
really
C
don't.
not on
not on
C-SPAN.
C-SPAN, because like she said, it is raw footage. It ain't nothing like CNN. It's totally different.
Okay.
You get the full details on C-SPAN. That's why I watch it a lot.
You get, and I watch it too. I keep it as background noise because you hear people what they say coming right out of their
Mm-hmm.
mouth, not after it's been chopped up and shown on Fox and MSNBC and see. That's where you see the committee hearings as they're happening. That's when you see the floor votes, the speeches. Everything is directly out of their mouths.
Yep.
Sorry.
It still don't
Trump is
it
right
still
about.
it
Tap that like button, smash subscribe, and ding that bell like it owes you money. And dive into our vids and drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. Every bit of love helps Duelist Concepts level up.